Shalom Aleichem. This Shabbat we'll read Parshat Lech Lecha, the story of Avraham Avinu. I want to take his story and apply it to some of the issues that are brewing here in Medinat Yisrael. There's been a big discussion in the Knesset and a vote about the Chok HaMe'onot, giving further subsidies to people in the Haredi population, and a discussion about whether they're going to fight and join Tzva Haganah Yisrael. And I believe that the model of Avraham Avinu has a lot to say about these issues that are brewing in our chevra, in our country today. Let me explain. In the 14th chapter, Perek Yudaled, a world war breaks out in Eretz Yisrael between the 4 kings led by Amraphel and the 5 kings of Sodom. And on the surface, this would appear to have nothing to do with Avraham. This is not his war. He didn't instigate it. These are not his people. And yet Avraham finds out that Lot was taken captive. Vayishma Avraham ki nishba achi vayarek et chanichav yelidei beito. Avraham hears that Lot, his nephew, has been taken captive. Notice the pasuk calls him his brother. It's not his brother, it's his nephew. But Avraham felt like Lot was his brother. And what does he do? He goes to war, he goes to fight. And the Radak and Abravanel and a number of commentators ask us, why is the Torah telling us about this story? What do we need to know about this world war, this fight between the 4 and the 5 kings? And the Radak and the Abravanel explain as follows. Lehodia, it's to teach us. Et godel yoshro shel Avraham, to teach us how righteous Avraham was, how much faith he had in Hashem. Lehodia ki ra'ui le'adam limtzor atzmo lemakom sakana lahatzil et kovav. And that a person needs to put their own life in risk in order to save their own family members. And this indeed is what Avraham does, according to the Radak. The Abravanel takes us further and tells us that this teaches us about the completeness of Avraham's character. Avraham exhibits 3 qualities in this story. Number 1, gvura, courage, strength, the willingness to fight, his toughness. Bravery. Number 2, ahavat krovim, his love for his family members. Lot, who wasn't deserving, by the way, to be saved. He went off to Sodom. He left Avraham. And number 3, nedivut v'godel halev, Avraham's generosity as well. Now, who does Avraham take with him to fight? Who are his fellow comrades in battle? It says in the Psukim that he takes Yelidei Beito. Who are Yelidei Beito? The Radak tells us Yelidei Beito are the people that are at a nefesh asher asu b'charan. Remember, Avraham converts and brings and missionizes, if you will, in Haran and Or Kasdim, and he brings many people with him to Eretz Canaan. These are essentially his yeshiva bachrim. Avraham has created a yeshiva. These are Baalei Tshuva. What does Avraham do when it's time for war? He closes the Gemara, he closes the Sefer, he closes the yeshiva, he locks the doors, and he takes all of his yeshiva bachrim, led by the Rosh Yeshiva, out to war to fight for his nephew Lot. This is an incredible example of bravery, of courage, of ahavat hazulat, loving another person. And what's true of Lot is certainly true of Am Yisrael today. That when Am Yisrael is in danger and there's a Milchemet Mitzvah, we need to go out and fight. When we need to encourage our 18 to 21-year-olds, whatever it is, yeshiva bachurim, who have, are in physical physique and able to go out and fight, to go out and do so. And as we're seeing our miluimnikim, our giburim, who are fighting today for Am Yisrael. Now, what's interesting is at the end of the story, Melech Sodom offers Avraham all the spoils, or call them the subsidies, the tax cuts, and Avraham refuses to take money from Melech Sodom. He says, I don't want to have anything to do with Melech Sodom. I did what I did because it was the right thing to do. And don't come and say that you're the one who enriched Avraham. And so Avraham refuses to take the money. So we see Avraham's bravery, his courage, his willingness to put his life on the line, and his total refusal to take money from Melech Sodom. And I think that this is something we need to think about and talk about. And we need to apply the lessons of Avraham to our people today and what's happening here in Medinat Yisrael. There's a story about Rav Aaron Lichtenstein Zatzal and Rav Amital, the 2 great late Roshei Yeshiva of Yeshivat Har Etzion. And, Rav Aaron wrote an article called The Ideology of Hesder. He writes a whole article explaining the values of the balancing Limud Torah and Yeshivat Hesder along with fighting. And the Bachurim of the Yeshivat Hesder today are showing their incredible courage and bravery. And litza'arenu, so many of them are wounded and dying on the front lines. And we owe tremendous hakarat tov to our Bachurei Yeshiva in our world, in the Yeshivat Hesder. But Rav Aaron writes this, and the article deals with the Rambam in Hilchot Shmita v'Yovel, and all these different hashkafic issues and Mekorot and articles about whether you need to go out to fight. And Rav Amital, his colleague, he says, I don't understand this article. So how could a country function without an army? And it was like so obvious, like he just felt that all the halachic analysis didn't make any sense. You need an army. There's danger. You need an army. You have to have an army. People need to go out to fight. And what we have here is both a combination of the halachic sources of Aaron marshals together to prove that a person needs to fight, but also the seichel hayashar, the basic logic of the human heart, which teaches you that when your family is in danger, when your people are in danger, then you need to go out and do something for them. And that's the model of Avraham Avinu. And we hope and pray that as our fellow Jews open up the parasha this week, that they will see these words, see these stories, and recognize the awesome and important responsibility that befalls upon all of us, all of Am Yisrael. And Be'ezrat Hashem, we shouldn't need this. We should be able to go back to Yeshiva. Avraham should be able to open up the books again and teach his people and go back to Yeshiva. We should all be able to do that. But that's not the reality that we're living in. So until that time, we need to follow Avraham's model in Parshat Lech Lecha. Wishing you all Shabbat Shalom.